Hi, everybody. Welcome to a new episode of the Mike Leaf Show right here on the Warrior Sports Network, joined as always by the head men's basketball coach, Mike Leaf. Coach, good weekend for you. Back on the winning track last weekend with a pair of victories over Sioux Falls on Friday and then Southwest Minnesota State on Saturday. Coming off a 4-game losing streak, must have been great to finally get back in the win column and get some momentum here.
Yeah, and that was the game plan, was, coming back at home, getting a couple wins, knowing we got a 4-game stand at home and trying to turn some things around. So it, very satisfying. And boy, that first game, Corey Jeff's he sure lit it up, didn't he?
He absolutely did.
Yeah, so him hitting all those threes for us, and that certainly got the bench and the crowd going and everything else. But I think for us the key was, I thought we played some really good defense, better job rebounding. Again, both areas that we still need to improve on, but we finally saw some flashes of some good shooting evenings. Mm-hmm. So that was a good thing.
You mentioned Corey Jeff, so let's talk about that a little bit. He was on fire, obviously. His parents seeing him for the first time, that was awesome. But he really turned it on in the second half. In that 5.5-minute stretch, he scored 17 straight points for you guys, 20 of 22 overall on his way to 29 points, 7 3-pointers. In that 5.5-minute stretch, have you really ever seen something like that in that short of a time span? I know you've been around basketball for a long time.
Never have. And I had talked to him before the game, and like you'd mentioned, his family was here, and they surprised him. He had no idea they were coming. And I asked him beforehand at shoot-around, I said, "Are you going to be nervous tonight?" And he said, "Probably." And but anyway, he the first one, I think the first one he hit was the bomb where the shot clock was going down. And then after that, it was just like one after another after another. And I told his mom after the game, I said, "I'd love for you to stay around for a while." Yeah. But it was pretty fun to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. He's always had glimpses, it seems like, from practice and whatnot. Did you see 29 points in a game out of him this early in his career?
Not really that high, but he comes off the bench. He helps us in that respect. And one of the things for him this last couple of weeks is he's actually really got much better defensively, and that was a little bit of his weakness. So he's going to, obviously shooting the ball well, he's going to see more minutes out there on the floor, and there's a couple guys that we need to spell. So, I think coming off the bench, having him and Tim Wagner is some good firepower.
Just talking specifically about that game in general, you probably had your worst game of the year against them the first time you played them in Sioux Falls. A really great game this time. Was he just the difference, or did you do a lot of things better than the first time around?
It was, when we were out there, we didn't shoot the ball well, but it was, I don't know, I can't even pinpoint it. It was like our defense, everybody was in slow motion. And I knew we had some sick guys that were out there, and but it was, Mark Blacklock and Riley Bamanek and Mohammed, they all were sick. And so I don't know if that just was part of it. We had a lot of home games, and so being on the road, but we just did not play well out there. So it was one of those things where we felt like we should win those games. We've got to learn to win on the road, and we've got to establish ourselves. And I said, it's a revenge factor right now for that weekend, and 2 big games that we needed to win.
Yep. So that was a big win on Friday, and then it didn't get any easier on Saturday. That's always one of your most physical games of the year against Southwest, and it was another one. And you avenged a 1-point loss in Southwest Minnesota State, and then you ended up beating them by 5 here. We had a big lead. They came back and tied it at 63-63.
Yeah.
Kept your composure and ended up getting the win. What were your thoughts on that game?
Well, we had the 15-point lead, and that's something our guys have to learn. And we talked about that right away after the game, is being able to establish. But you saw that we were playing tentative, and it was like we had a break and we had numbers 3-on-2, and we would hold it up. And I understand where they were coming from, but when you still have that many minutes in the game, you still have to attack the basket. And we certainly could have gotten some layups, or maybe Corey could have hit a couple more threes in that game. But that was the part of it that we really have to establish, that if we get that lead, you got to grind it, and you got to play solid D, and you've got to build on it. And we didn't build. And but I give Southwest a lot of credit because they've got a nice ball club.
Yeah, absolutely. So 2 big wins for you. Mm-hmm. And now coming in, you get to stay at home this week. 2 more in McCown Gymnasium. This coming weekend is Mary and Minot come to town. 2 teams that'll be another tough game for you.
Yeah, and mentioning that, Mary's probably, literally they have some of the best athletes in the league. They really do, and they run the floor very, very well. They'll throw some full court pressure at you, and both teams have big men. One, Mary comes off the bench, Minot starts, but they're literally 6'8", 280 pounds, and that's a big mound, and they get the ball inside, and the young man from Mary is actually a really, really good outside shooter as well. So it's going to be a little different seeing a 6'8", 280 pounder hitting some threes. So, but that's something where we've got to run, we got to push the ball up the floor. Again, we're trying to get to that point where if our opponent gets a shot off, we got to get the board. We're going to give them one shot, if that, and that mentality has to be there. So, both games are, I say this in our league. There's such parity. And you look at a team like, even like Crookston, who hasn't had the successes in the past, but they're doing extremely well. And it's, everybody across the league's playing well. So it's the advantage for us is we're playing at home.
Yeah. Not only are you playing at home, but even better, you don't have to make that 10-hour road trip like these teams do, as it's the longest road trip of the year for them, and it is when you have to go there. But you don't have to this year. How hard is it for a team to make that 10, 11-hour road trip?
It's tough, and I'm so thankful that you always make those trips with us too.
I'm not going on that one. I probably never will.
But that is a haul. It is a haul. And when those two teams had joined our league, that was the first thing you thought about. And, it's the one trip where you actually have to have 2 bags of movies and not just one.
Right.
But it is. It's a haul. And it takes its toll somewhat, but at the same time, you just have to learn that, learn how to deal with that.
Yep, well, 2 more big games this weekend in McCown Gymnasium as you take on the University of Mary Friday night at 8 p.m. and then a 6 p.m. tip-off against Minot State on Saturday right here in McCown Gym. Hopefully everyone can make it, and hopefully you'll see 2 more wins.
Out.
2 more wins from the Warriors.
Oh, we need the help.
Yeah, and then we'll be back later in the week as I'll sit down with redshirt freshman Tim Wagner as he talks about what his experience with the Warriors have been so far this year right here on the Mike Leaf Show on the Warriors Sports Network.